All right, listen up, y'all.
Greetings, everybody. This is another episode of All Things Education Official. I'm your host and educator, Mr. Abdullah, giving you education from a foundational Black American male's perspective. Today, we're going to have a quick little mini lesson. We're going to discuss quickly how the migrant crisis continues to affect New York City public schools directly.
Part of the mayor's budget cuts that's got a lot of attention is the cancellation of a new class of school safety agents.
This is data shows that more knives are being seized at New York City schools. Lisa Everest spoke with students about their safety concerns.
All we hear is screaming outside the classroom.
That's how it sounded to students here at JHS 123 in Soundview last week when a 12-year-old girl was slashed in the leg. Student Sinai Jennings says she and her classmates are concerned for their safety.
It was scary for us because we had to go to metal detectors and everything. And we had to do that for 2 days, and we had to be on lockdown.
It was one of 3 stabbings and slashings within a 3-day span. At Edward R. Murrow High School in Brooklyn, a 15-year-old boy was stabbed after a fight. At the AECI Charter School in the Bronx, another 15-year-old boy was slashed in his face. The NYPD says from July 1st to December 3rd of this year, they've confiscated 2,212 weapons from city schools. More than half of them are knives, box cutters, and razors.
Well, as you can see, it's no secret that this migrant crisis is affecting budgets, particularly in New York City and Chicago, and it's starting to creep extensively across the board in democratically ran cities. According to the New York Times, the budget cuts that will be imposed due to the migrant crisis, or which is aptly called the Biden crisis, would bring the number of police department officers below 30,000 for the first time since the 1980s. Slash the education department budget by $1 billion over 2 years, and to delay the rollout of composting in the Bronx and Staten Island, one of the mayor's signature initiatives to address rats and climate change. The cuts would also weaken 2 popular programs, summer school and universal pre-kindergarten. Once again, it's going to disrupt and weaken 2 popular programs, summer school and universal pre-kindergarten. That to me is extremely alarming because we know that a lot of our children need that remediation. A lot of times parents, if they're working double shifts. There's maybe one single parent that's working. That respite is needed in the summer. So to cut that summer school is going to cause a significant hardship upon these parents. Mr. Adams had said on Tuesday that eliminating a new class of 250 school safety agents would mean that schools would be leaning into parents and parent groups to do some volunteerism. He said that he would do everything he could to keep schools safe with fewer resources. This is out of the New York Times. This is absolutely ridiculous. We are fully aware that even with the budget as it was, without the cuts, we were short-staffed. New York City schools did not have enough teachers, teachers' assistants. We didn't have enough custodial staff, maintenance, cafeteria staff. Everybody was stretched thin, and now you're going to cut us short a little bit further just so that you can say that we are a sanctuary city. Well, if you're following the news, you know that in particular Mayor Adams went to the White House 10 times and was denied all those times because he is not in the good graces of the great Joe Biden. Well, according to the New York Post, blades seized in New York City public schools has rocketed up to 7% this year as the number of weapons detecting scanners and school safety agents plummets. The troubling data comes from the same week as 3 student stabbings inside schools have occurred. This school year through December 6th, cops and safety agents have recovered 1,088 knives, 260 box cutters, surpassing the 1,256, which is 1,004 knives and 252 box cutters seized during the same period last year, according to the NYPD School Safety Division data. This is a perfect example of how our children are left in harm's way in the public educational system. I am an advocate for private schooling. I'm an advocate for homeschooling, communal homeschooling, all of those things. I work in the public educational system, so I do the best I can within it. But I'm an advocate for those other forms of education because currently, as it stands, our children are always last on the list for protection, but first on the list for deprivation. Remember, if you have a child, a niece, nephew, or if you're just concerned about our children in particular in these public schools, vote locally. Make sure your voices are heard. talk to your council people, school boards, talk to the mayor's office if you can. Make sure our children are protected, because these types of things are utterly ridiculous. This is another episode of All Things Education Official. I am your host and educator, Mr. Abdullah, giving you education from a foundational Black American male's perspective. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share. Put us in the algorithm. Let us know that we're giving good education over here on this channel, on this platform. And you are dismissed.